head coach. At Helen Cox High School, the Cougars defeated Higgins 17-3 in the West Bank Optimist Jamboree, which we broadcast this past Friday night on WGSO. They will travel to Slidell to play Northshore in their season opener this Friday night at 7 p.m. Please give a warm quarterback club welcome to Coach Willie Brooks of the Helen Cox Cougars.
Thank you, Ken. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here today with the quarterback club. A lot of you guys may not be familiar with our program. We're in our 10th year, and being the correct Ken, but I've been there all 10 years as the head coach. I left St. Augustine High School as defensive coordinator, and 2004 I was blessed to be named the head coach at Helen Cox High School. At that time, Helen Cox was a feeder school to West Jefferson and John Eric, and our job was to feed them no more. Make sure that we keep all of our athletes there. It was a struggle because going against some real good coaches in that area at the time was Coach Hank Tierney, who was a West Bank legend over at West Jeff, and they had also Billy North to my left. So I had to do a lot of selling to convince kids to stay at Helen Cox, because those guys had the opportunity to leave to either go to West Jeff or Eric, and I've been blessed to have a great coaching staff over the years that helped me. But along those lines, we also wound up losing a lot of our guys because we had a little success early at Helen Cox. Remember, in our third or fourth year, we were ranked 4th in the state in 4A, and we lost a powerhouse at the time. It was Bastrop High School, and those guys were on an incredible run, and we went up there and lost those guys either second or third round of the playoffs. But we had a lot of success early. And through that time, also, we had to deal with a little issue called Hurricane Katrina. It came along, and a year after, kind of had us restart the program. We always, as a staff, we sit around, we talk about these things all the time. We always tease. We wind up losing a rookie of the year in Eddie Lacy. Eddie Lacy was one of our guys. He started for us for 2 years, and we used to call him Jim Brown. He didn't even know who Jim Brown was. And I used to tell him, I said, listen, you got to go back and see who Jim Brown is. So about 2 weeks ago, we text each other and talk and all. He said, Coach, I know who Jim Brown is. So we wound up, going through that period. But needless to say, we moved forward, and I had some excellent guys on my staff that were able to go on and become successful head coaches. Larry Rout, he's now his assistant principal over at Covington, and I'm very happy for him. Also, Reggie Rogers is doing a great job over at Bonneville High School right now. He's my guy. We talk every day, and many assistants that you're going to lose along the way. But more importantly for us is the fact of good people, and I've been blessed to be around good people. My high school football coach is Joe Zimmerman, who I respect ultimately. My football mentor, I talk to him every day. Matter of fact, I got off the phone with him this morning, Don Watney. And he taught me a lot of things. I was at Edna Carr for 10 years, and I was a defensive coordinator, and Coach Watney. Everything I do in this business, whether I'm making decisions or not, I always kind of consult with him when we talk about things and bounce it off him. So I've been blessed to have been surrounded by a lot of good coaches, because when you speak of Helen Cox, you may think of the head coach, but I have so many people in our public who wanted to thank at this time before I move forward in things. Nelson, those were great words he said about me earlier, and I appreciate it because Nelson's my guy. Also, I talk to those guys. I try to be cordial with everybody in this business, because this business happens, at home. You can be on top of the world in one day, and then the next day you don't know nothing. So I understand that. So I keep it all in perspective. 2010 was the last time that we were able to make the playoffs, and what I did was something that was probably unpopular throughout our school. First of all, academics is important. So 3 years ago, I had made a decision. Listen, if you're not coming here to do your schoolwork, if you're not coming here to be a student first, you won't be on this football team. We're going to take a hit right now, and I think it's going to pay dividends later on in the program. And that's what we wind up doing. So we had to take a step back in order to take a step forward. And moving on to 2014, this football team right here, I think, the labor is going to come back. The fruits of our labors are back. We have a good football team right here, and it all starts with our 4-year starting quarterback. by the name of Deion Ray. And what's so good about him is he's been a poster child for what I've been trying to do for the last 3 years. Number one, he's a student. He has a 3.9 grade point average, 24 on the ACT. He was offered by 6 SEC schools to play other positions. But his character, he said, Coach, I want to be a quarterback. This is all I've ever done. And all these coaches came in during the summertime and during the springtime, and they offered him all these things. And I just sit back and I just watch him make his decision. He's a UL commitment, UL Lafayette commitment. And Raging Cajuns committed to him being the next quarterback. And I was real proud of him sticking to his convictions with that. So hopefully after we're finished with him, he'll be able to go on and do some good things, stay in the state of Louisiana. We also have 3 commitments. Deion is one of them. We also have another defensive player, Jamal Tillman. He's a commitment to UL Monroe. And once again, academics are important. He's going to qualify, and all those things, because that was very, very important to me 3 years ago. This is what we are trying to do here at Helen Cox, to make sure the student athlete is on top of their game. So I hate when I walk around school to anybody and say things and say, oh, Coach, man, which one's the athletes? I don't want you to know who the athletes are. I don't give out rosters to all of our teachers. They'll tell you that already. When the guys come, we got 1,000 kids in school. I want you to treat all of them just the same. I don't want you to stick out. I want you to go in the classroom, sit in front of the classroom, do all the things necessary to be successful in life. And those guys are buying into now what we're doing. We also have a Northwestern State commitment by the name of Jason Charles. He's another kid, 25 on the ACT, 3.7 average. And I know a lot of college coaches come in and they ask me, well, Coach, how does all this stuff come about? Well, you know, that was important. And I think moving forward, it's going to pay off for us, like I told you earlier. Last year, we had a tough year. I mean, last year, we came in second in our district. We lost to Destrehan. We lost to East Jefferson by a score of 75-0. 75-0. We lost to Edna Carr, and we lost to John Ehret High School, which we had them on the ropes, and we let them get away. We lost that, and we lost a real tough one to West Jeff. But moving forward this year, Friday night, like kids said earlier, we're playing against a good Northshore team. Last year we went down on the wire, and Mike Bird does a great job with his team. I mean, he really does. So we don't expect anything but a war going into Friday night. But moving forward, I feel real good about our program and where we are and the kind of people that we have in our program. And I think Stu was asked a question about the numbers. I mean, we have about 60 kids on our football team, and 60 kids that we really want to be able to do the right things. But football not only teaches you the game itself, but it teaches you about life. And I know what you were saying earlier, Coach, about that. That's more important to us, being productive citizens and men in the society. I'm proud to say I got 3 guys on my coaching staff that I coach at Helen Cox that are on my staff that are college graduates with me right now. And they kind of echoing things that I said. And you know, as an old ball coach, you kind of step back and you listen to them tell the kids what you told them maybe 6, 7 years ago. That's when you know you're getting old. But I enjoyed, everything, but it's life lessons. We also have a couple of guys over at Tulane right now. Coach and I was talking much earlier. Eldridge Washington and Royston France. Those guys doing a great job over at Tulane. I know they had a tough one the other night. I talked to both of those guys on a daily basis, and I'm glad they're doing very, very well at Tulane. We also have a starting safety over at Missouri in the SEC by the name of Deron Singleton. Matter of fact, he had a real good interception the other day in the game. I talked to those guys. So what we try to do at Helen Cox is make it so close to a family. And I'm so proud of a lot of those guys because they're always coming back. Royce is coming back. Eldridge coming back. Deron, those guys all come back. Javon Lawson, who was Mr. Everything at UL, he always comes back and talk to the kids. So that's what's more important to us right now, trying to build a family-oriented community, but also understanding one thing. When college coaches come in and see it, it's all about being a student athlete first. And so I think that's the message that we try to send at Helen Cox. So hopefully this year we're going to improve on last year. Our goal is to win a district championship. It'll be our first in 10 years. We've been in every district. We've been in the SEC West with Carl Walker. We've been on the Bayou. We've been everywhere. So, I mean, we're finally back home in Jefferson Parish, where I think that we belong as a program. And hopefully this year we have an opportunity to compete for our district championship, and not only that, go further, maybe on to the playoff if Willie, we can stay away from some injuries. But I think talent-wise, this could be one of our best teams from top to bottom in the last maybe 5 or 6 years. Does anyone have any questions?
Raise your hand, anyone? Willie, I got one for you.
Yes.
What's the hardest thing for you as a high school coach at Helen Cox?
The hardest thing is probably what I said before, buy-in, in terms of being a student athlete. I mean, we get so many guys who, quote unquote, they want to play football, but they don't understand it's a cerebral part of the game. You have to take care of your schoolwork, and I can't make it any more simpler for you than that. You know, if you're a knucklehead from 8 to 3, you're not gonna come out there from 3 to 5 and become a genius. That's what a lot of teachers don't figure out. Sometimes the behavior problems that you have in school, those are the guys that we don't want on our team either, because they're not gonna listen to me in front of 5,000 on a Friday night, and I give them direction, and they're sitting in a classroom and they're being a knucklehead, and you got 20 people in the class. It just don't work that way. So I mean, we want to also understand you win with good people, and that's the hardest thing. Dion is, and I always talk about him. Dion is an honor student. It's easy to coach him because he understands what's important. It's the guys, it's other people also around him that has to understand the importance of being a student athlete. So I think we're heading in the right direction and building solid ground. But to answer your question, it's hard work. It's definitely hard work, but I can see the fruits of the labor, the progress is coming. Once again, I'd like to thank, I'm sorry, quick.
Great to hear your emphasis on academics. I think that's really great for kids. What are your thoughts about this impasse over the playoffs and the classification? Do you have any suggestions of what the solution would be?
Like Stu said earlier, I think it's the world we live in. I mean, I've heard arguments on both sides. I played in the Catholic League at De La Salle. You know, I've coached in the Catholic League at De La Salle, St. Aug. I worked in public schools at Carr and, you know, Helen Cox. I like to see us come together at some point in time and being able to resolve some of these matters and some of these issues. I think at the end of the day, everybody wants to get to the Superdome, and I think that's what it's all about. But at this point, I do think we have too many classifications. I think we are what, 9? Yeah, 9. That might be a little bit too extreme. You know, hopefully we can work something out and you know, be able to, you know, not to take away from any champions last year, but to be able to come together on some kind of common grounds and maybe get the association back, you know, intact the way it was before. Yeah.
Do you have the opportunity to have a kind of study hall or tutoring program for your players?
Yeah, we do. I tell you, you know, at Helen Cox, and I'm blessed because we're a little smaller. We're really a 4A school. We're not a real 5A school. We're not as big as John Ehret and Higgins and West Jefferson and all those schools. We're a little bit smaller than those guys. So, I mean, I have a little bit more relationship going around the hallways with teachers, you know. And I'll tell you, our faculty and staff, they give up their lunch times. The tutor guys also, they stay out of school with them, you know. So, I mean, I think we have a good staff over at Helen Cox, good faculty. My principal, Mr. Mark Perry, does a great job. He supports athletics. My board member, Dr. Ella Lachardi, you know, all those guys are on the same page with me. And they understanding that, you know, academics comes first in order. But to answer your question, yeah, we do have it, you know, a little setup, a little study hall with them. And we have a 4th period athletic class also. So anytime a kid needs a little extra help, you know, we're going to make sure they get it. Once again, I'd like to thank the quarterback club. I'd like to thank Ken for this opportunity to come here. And, you know, I'm a big fan of sportsnola.com. I'm going to be honest with you. I watch it, look at it every day. So hopefully they can say some good things about Helen Cox in the future. Once again, thank you very much.